Hi, this is Dr. Nick. I'm the Incrementalist here with incremental insights for better business, better health.
And I'm Fred Goldstein with Accountable Health, here helping employers work with their employees to maintain healthy environments, improve the overall health, and reduce the cost of their health care. So, Nick, another interesting week. We're seeing a lot of vaccine rollout, a lot of things happening with vaccines. We've been talking to a number of universities about what they're planning to do. And there's some interesting announcements from one of them this week, as I understand.
Yeah, so Rutgers, forgive me if I say that wrong, I probably do, or I say it in a funny way, but Rutgers came out with a vaccine mandate. They have essentially stated for their population that they are requiring the vaccine. And I know that creates some challenges, and it's certainly one of the things that we've talked about in terms of can you do it? Number one. So there's an immediate question in my mind based on the fact that these are not fully approved. These are under an emergency use authorization by the FDA. There's also, the fundamental issue of the United States, which is about freedom of choice and so forth. And, do we really want to do that? Should we be imposing that? What are the consequences of that? And what happens when people don't, or more importantly, can't do it? How do you deal with that? And what's the process? So let me be clear, first of all, I think it's important for everybody to understand. I personally, the instant vaccine is available and I'm eligible, I'm taking it. I'm taking anyone. I have no hesitation. Any one of the three that are under EUA in the US. And in fact, there's even another one that I think we've seen the data that I think is very compelling. But mandating it for me, based on the discussions that I have, is something of a challenge. And, I think we have to be respectful and work more in a cooperative way to persuade people that this is the right pathway so that they can make their own choice, or at least feel like they're making their own choice. Same way that when you walk into McDonald's, you feel like you're making a good choice, healthy choice, but they use all the mental approaches to get you to pick, all the things that are probably not healthy for you.
So, on this one, Nick, I think I'm going to slightly disagree, and here's why. This is about college. This is about creating the safest environment possible to bring kids together with their teachers, the professors. You've got other people walking around on the campus, potentially your staff that are doing other things, whether it's housekeeping or security or maintenance, etc. And we really know how badly damaged the tele approach to school has been.
Right.
And trying to create that safe environment where we can get kids, college students back together, I think is critically important from not only a mental health perspective, but an education and economic perspective for the long term. And to do that, we know these vaccines, as we're seeing in Israel and elsewhere, are having a difference. We're seeing even in the United States the drop in deaths and hospitalizations for the elderly. So it's a tough question. There are going to be a lot of colleges that won't be able to do that. There will be some that will, and it will be interesting over time to see how many. I do think it's best if we had it not mandatory, but I think for certain situations, perhaps we need to do that. Obviously, we're seeing now with New York with their passport, where you're going to be able to do things, get into activities. We're seeing basketball teams announce they're going to have a zone for vaccinated folks. So those are the incentives to get things done. I do think in colleges, not a lot, maybe a lot are going to do it. We'll see. I could be wrong, but it is a tough decision. In that case, I think I'd prefer it was done that way, but I understand why you can't. And obviously, you have to give the appropriate exceptions to individuals who have immunity issues or religious issues that keep them from taking vaccines. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
Those are great points, Fred, but let me just pick up on one thing that I think is important to understand here. We would not be in this circumstance were it not for vaccine hesitancy. This country, the world, in fact, managed to eradicate a disease that was crippling many. We still have, the history of polio and all the challenges that occurred, but we rolled out vaccinations founded on science. And even in that instance, we had some challenges. We weren't perfect, but we've learned from all of that. There's hundreds of years of learning of science that has contributed to where we are with vaccinations. And we have vaccine hesitancy. And here's my point. What I learned this past week is that a small minority of individuals are responsible for the majority of the mis and disinformation. My personal view is that there is no place for those individuals to be given a megaphone. We've essentially amplified that voice. It's an outrage that these individuals, and when you look at them, some of them, it's their business to sell you junk. They're, the snake oil salesmen of the Wild West, and their interest is to get you to disagree with what's going on with science so that you buy the junk that they're trying to push out. And we have to do something about that because that really is the source of all of this hesitancy.
Hmm. Yeah, we know what the solutions are to this. It's obviously vaccination and those non pharmaceutical interventions that you always talk about: wear a mask, socially distance, and wash your hands. And those will make an incredible difference and allow us to get back to a newer normal. And if we don't do that, I think, we're just in serious trouble. It'll be interesting to watch the colleges. There's been another announcement. Notre Dame announced that they're going to have vaccine available for all their students. Apparently, the state of Indiana said, let's get the college kids vaccinated and the universities vaccinated, the staff, et cetera. So they're opening that up to get shots in before the end of the year. And I think other states should be considering that. For example, Florida, where we have 40% excess vaccine in this state, and they've dropped the age from 60 to 50 to 40 in 3 weeks. Yeah, it's great to get into younger people, but we needed to get it in. So let's get it to people who will take it, and then figure out how we get the others to begin to get themselves vaccinated. This hesitancy problem, as you raise, is a major issue.
Yeah, we have to overcome it, introduce trust and let folks understand. I think, built on the shoulders of Jenna was an article I read this past week that sort of, amplifies this hundreds of years of innovation and science and work. And each time we always learn and apply that to the new circumstance. And we have to engender trust so that folks can get it. I applaud Notre Dame, I think it was, that has rolled this out. They're pushing for that. What a brilliant strategy! If you've got available vaccine, use it, get it into the arms of people that are willing, so that they can then take back that vaccinate. So that now expands the population because these folks will go back. So I think practical implementations to get us as quickly as possible up this ladder. And then, by the way, let's do this internationally. This is not just about the United States. This is a worldwide problem, and we have to solve for that throughout the world.
Absolutely. We probably should be considering what we can do to help Brazil out right now, as we've talked about prior to this. Just an unbelievable situation down there. So, once again, another fantastic week, Nick. This is Fred Goldstein with Accountable Health, helping you and your companies create better environments for your employees and your overall health system.
And this is Dr. Nick. I'm the incrementalist here with incremental insights for better business, better health.